Students, today we are starting our 15th chapter, Biodiversity and Conservation. Now, what about biodiversity? The combined diversity at all levels of biological organization is called biodiversity, and the word biodiversity popularized by Edward Williams. Now, types of biodiversity. There are three types of biodiversity. Number one, genetic diversity. Second one, species diversity. And third one, ecological diversity. What about genetic diversity? Genetic diversity means diversity shown by a single species. Shown by a single species over a distributional range. For example, there are more than 50,000 strains of rice are present. More than 1,000 varieties of mango in India. These are the examples of genetic diversity. And species diversity. Species diversity means diversity of the organism at the level of species. For example, amphibian species diversity is higher in the Western Ghat than the Eastern Ghats. Okay. And third one is ecological diversity. Ecological diversity represents the diversity in the availability of various types of ecosystem in a given area. For example, we can say in comparison with country like Norway, India has a greater ecosystem diversity with its desert, rainforest, mangroves, corals, reefs, wetlands, etc. Okay. Now, the number of species in India and on Earth, according to IUCN in 2004, there are 1.5 million species of plants and animals are exist. And according to Robert May, there are global species diversity is 7 million. And India has 2.4% of world land and 8.1% of global species diversity. In them, 45,000 species of plant and approx 90,000 species of animal are exist. Now, patterns of biodiversity. First one, latitudinal gradient. According to latitudes, this one is equator and these are latitudes. Species diversity decrease from equator to pole. Tropics have higher species than temperate or polar areas. Example, Colombia near equator. 1400 bird species are present here. In India, this is the position of India. And India, we can say in tropics. There are 1200 species. New York is in temperate and 105 species. Greenland polar region and having 56 species. Now you can say species diversity decrease from equator to pole. Now think about Why does tropic have greater biological diversity than the temperate region? The reasons behind it: number one, the tropical latitude have remained relatively undisturbed for millions of years and thus had a long evolutionary time for the species diversification. And also, tropical environment, unlike temperate one, are less seasonal, relatively more constant and predictable. This promotes to a greater species diversity. Also, one, there is a more solar energy available in the tropics, which contribute to higher productivity. This is termed might contribution indirectly to a greater diversity. Now, species area relationship. According to Alexander von Humboldt, a species richness increase with increasing explored area. This is the relationship: log S equals to log C plus Z log A. Here S species richness, A for area, C for y-intercept, and Z for slope of line, that is regression coefficients. Okay.